Channel 3 TV. This one is going to be a Q&A slot for the first time ever. We have a couple of listeners' questions and viewers' questions coming in from various platforms. Put them together, couldn't fit them in the podcast, so we decided to do them as a video instead. Joined by Rob Palmer.
Hello.
Conor Kelly. I'm Rob Canavan. We have 3 questions to go through. Rob, do you want to read out the first one?
Yep. The first one's from YouTube, and it's from basically a regular at this point.
Yeah.
Kieran182, and he says, "Gentlemen, another interesting video. Thank you very much. However, I must clarify a few things. Yes, the name Kieran182 comes from a past love of Blink-182. Good man. Most things are not eternal in this life, but there are some. Chiefly, one's first Hotmail account and YouTube username, which is spot on. In my last comment, I made a remark about Gary Busey that I thought was clear, but obviously was somewhat ambiguous. One of you thought I meant he was a poor actor. In fact, I love Gary Busey. I was making reference to the fact that he dies in a lot of his films. He's in Point Break, Lethal Weapon, The Firm, Under Siege, Predator 2, and of course, the one about Buddy Holly. I think he's a fine actor. Pity we can't say the same about his son Jake Busey. Their contribution to the acting world drawing parallels to that of Johan and Jordi Cruyff's contribution to football. Regarding my anonymity, I would like to keep it for the moment. I feel like I am actually the voice of the sound guy. Is the sound guy the podcast version of the neighbour from Home Improvement? Tim Allen's neighbour would often give him advice out the back garden, but his face was always covered by the fence, which led to rumours about the man having a horrific facial injury. Did the sound guy have his vocal cords ripped out by a Wolverine? Adam will answer that later. A question I wanted to ask you guys. What do you make of the term football hipster? It was first tagged to me around 2 years ago by my half-pissed friends during a discussion about which league was the best. I said Bundesliga/La Liga. They said Premier League. Presently, they all now find themselves in agreement with me thanks to a swift MNS veto against Thierry Henry's cringy adverts. Do you guys get labelled it often? It doesn't bother me. I even bring up how Aalborg or Lierse are doing in their respective leagues just to get a rise out of them. Give me SC Herenveen and Raf Honigstein over the Ladbrokes life any day of the week. So does it annoy you? Do reviews even get called football hipsters?
We'll go to you first and then come across. I know you've been branded a football hipster, but does it bother you at all, and do you get it often? I suppose is the most important way to ask.
I don't get it as often as I used to, but because I think I get called a hipster in general by my mates, and that doesn't bother me at all. But the football hipster one sort of bothers me because, like, at the end of the day, football is sort of universal. I think that if it was okay, it'd be different if I watched football in like the 80s, and let's say I was keeping up to date with leagues that weren't necessarily on TV or whatever. But every top flight league, well, the top 6 or 7 leagues in Europe anyway, are on TV, satellite TV. You can pay a certain amount a month and you'll get all of the football you want.
Yeah. And if you can't see them, you can read about them.
I think it's just ignorance if you don't have any sort of knowledge of certain leagues or teams. But yeah, I get called it occasionally. It sort of bothers me.
I can see why people would say it if you were talking about music, because when you say that football is kind of the for all, people, like I do the same, you do the same, we exclude generally shit chart music. Yeah. So that is a hipster thing to isolate something.
Right,
Rob! to isolate something and to put something else above it. Like, I think you can be a hipster, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
I think it's just, like, the whole idea for football, it's like, as I was saying, it's universal, but there's no need to differentiate between leagues, I think. No. Why should any league be assumed better than another?
Yeah.
I think if you're going out of your way to watch football, like if you're watching Belgian second tier mid-table clashes, then you can fuck off. Then that's ridiculous. Like,
or wearing like a St. Pauli shirt around the place just for the
like, it's the way you do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can just turn around and say, well, for me there's no difference between this league, that league, I just watch them, but I like this style, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'm
that's
definitely taking that up for the next time I'm having cans with them lads. Just start referencing and reeling off Aalborg.
Oh right, I get you. Yeah. I think that would be really good to get a rise out of people. But do you get branded a football hipster often?
I do a little bit, like, because like most of my mates are just sort of like very sort of top 4 Premier League centric.
Painting by numbers football fans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'd come in and I'd be like, oh, I watched like Villarreal against Valencia at the weekend. It's a great game. Like, what are you doing watching that muck for? Like, see way better like competitive games in the Championship. And it's like, yeah, the game might be a bit more competitive, but like it's shit. So I'm not going to watch it. Like, it's like I'd prefer like different styles of football. Variety's a spice of life at the end of the day.
Yeah,
if I enjoy a game in Italy, if I enjoy a game in the Dutch league, if I enjoy a game in Spain, it doesn't matter as long as I enjoy the game. But I'm not going to go around saying, oh, look what I watched, look how great I am. I just watch the football that I want to watch. Simple as that. Like.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is the way you go about it.
Yeah.
Is that you're not deliberately doing it, like you say, St. Pauli jersey probably being the most obvious one to kind of have and to be making a point about. Yeah, I get branded footballists all the time, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I wouldn't consider it a bad thing. I would consider it kind of like he says, like a badge of pride type thing, and it is really easy to wind people up with it if you so wish.
I think if you get called football hipster, it's just because you know more about football than they do.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, as long as you're not being a wanker about it.
Yeah, like as long as yeah, exactly. Like going in and imposing your opinions on different leagues over, like going in and fucking bashing, saying Spain is shit because I don't know, because Sky have the rights to, I don't know, like, you know, stupid stuff they come out with, like.
Yeah.
And then say, because you watch Spanish football, you're a football hipster, that's bollocks.
Yeah.
Well, what I get now is that one of my mates ask me about football, they ask me about other leagues, and then I'll give them a complete opposite answer to what they're expecting. And then they'll be like, oh, that's weird. And then they won't follow up on it, but...
The biggest time that's happened to me is my friends asked me about, or made the statement that, oh, Beckham put MLS on the map. And I said, you know, I didn't know who LA Galaxy were before Beckham moved there. That's honest, just being honest. Like, but Henry, for me, and we've said this on the podcast before, was the one who really brought MLS in as a league that's that's credible, that should be watched. Beckham never did that. He taught us, if anything, if you want to take the Beckham out, is fuck off to Milan and then not come back on time and be injured. But yeah, have we addressed all these questions there?
We have indeed.
That was a really good one.
Yeah, we've got all that.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so football hipster. Yeah, perfect. And thanks for the comment. They're really consecutive. Second one then.
Yeah, next one is from Dan Stevenson. This is from I think he commented on the Grealish video, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. And he goes, lads, I know in this you say you have no beef with players switching your allegiances after playing for one country at youth level, but how do you feel in general about players choosing a country to whom they have limited lineage? You say that without mid-level English players, Ireland would be with the Cypresses of this world. But do you think stricter rules in general about this kind of thing would lead to more nations looking long-term with their youth strategies, a la Germany 2004? Attracting average players to play for Ireland and play under two men who spent their entire managerial career managing average to shit players isn't going to help the country's football long-term. And what joy is anyone really gaining from maybe scraping through to a tournament again just to be embarrassed? Would stricter rules be beneficial to everyone and maybe even increase the quality of the international game in general in about 10 or 20 years' time? Something that I think is desperately needed, especially in Europe. Or am I just dreaming of the perfect world here?
Again, I'll throw this to you first.
Neil Lennon was not an average player.
Yeah, no, I think someone is. What I really like about this comment.
He fell into the shit bracket.
What I really like about this comment, just aside from the entire question, is that you've seen right through the Martin O'Neill myth, and I love that personally. I absolutely love it because he was not a good manager. Talking about Leicester is not relevant to the Ireland job. No. Now, what was the question again? Players, should they be allowed? What do you think? Where's your thing? Limited lineage, etc., etc. Should players be allowed to choose?
I think you should be allowed to choose, but as soon as you... I don't even have a problem with players playing youth football for another country.
No, personally, no.
But once you play a single full international game, whether it be a friendly match or a qualifier for one country, you should not be able to change.
I don't see why friendlies are discounted because you get a cap for friendly.
Well, yeah, Diego Costa was capped twice for Brazil.
Yeah.
He should not be allowed to play for Spain.
No, that's totally fair. I get that.
Yeah. Simple as. And would it solve any problems? No, not with the FAI.
Nationality is a really tricky issue.
Yeah,
especially with the amount of migration in Europe itself and outside Europe that's happened in the last, say, 2-3 decades. It's kind of become a lot more blurred.
Like Miguel Delaney is like this before because he's half Spanish and half Irish.
Exactly.
So, you can feel both. You can feel Spanish and Irish.
And which way would you be pulled if push came to shove? You probably don't know.
Yeah.
Palmer, you have a problem with the youth changing, right?
Yeah, I think that needs to be stopped. I think if you played for a youth, like if you play like for example Jack Grealish, he's obviously. I back him completely for playing for England because he was he's an Englishman, brought up in an English system who now plays for England. Fair enough. But I think if you play for a country at youth level, that should be like getting a cap. You should stay like that. Like I think, like you brought it up about Diego Costa. I think that's spot on. I think if you play a friendly, that should count. The same way a youth game should count as a cap. If you declare for that country at a young age, you should stay with that country because you can't just go around. Like, let's say you've got a grandparent who's Spanish, you've got a ma who's like English, and then you've got a dad who's Irish, right? You could play for 3 countries. You could sample their youth academies on 3 different levels, and then say, I probably won't get into the Spanish setup, probably won't get into English setup, so I'll play for Ireland.
Yeah.
Having played for 3 national teams.
Yeah,
and you could even if you were an exceptional player, then you can kind of look and say, right, I really like how the Spanish do it. I'll declare for them because my grandparent was a Spaniard, and that works for me. Like I think
that's actually a good point because like. If I think that defeats by being able to sample various international setups, that defeats the purpose of international football.
Yeah. It's not a club game at international level.
It would actually help Dan's point as well, though, because if they went your way and say Jack Grealish wasn't able to change, the FAI, let's assume they plan long term, could look at something and go, these players are in our plans. So now better nations can do this because they're not going to leave, but we, obviously can't. You could actually plan around 10 years of players and say, oh yeah, we'll play the same style from under 15s right through. I think on the flip side, that players should be allowed to make youthful mistakes. So I think there's two ends because you're nailing yourself right into it and kind of go. I imagine we always use Grealish because he's just whatever, he's relevant and he will be for some time for Irish football. But imagine if he turned around and like 14, 15 minutes, like, oh, my heart's with Ireland, but I really want to play top level 5 years later, because I suppose when you're 14, 15, the gap isn't that big. You see Irish youth teams do well sometimes, but imagine being like 20, 21 and going,
but do you not think that? Yeah, but do you not see that's the problem? Like Irish youth teams do well, but Irish national team never does because all the youth players fuck off to England. Do you know what I mean? It's like I think, like I'm not saying this from a purely nationalistic point of view. That would benefit Ireland. I'm talking about like across the board. Like if a German player plays youth football for Germany and then goes off and plays for the US.
Yeah, many big one for the Germans would be Turkey as well.
Yeah,
there's a split there. But US is a good point with the US soldier sons.
It's like I think like that shouldn't be allowed. If you play for Germany on a youth level, you should stay and play with Germany, even if you're not going to get called up. Tough.
I suppose it would clean up a lot of the trouble because you see it with the North as well. We play England to their republic in terms of stealing players and stuff like that. So it would clean up. I think it's ideal. I don't think it will happen. To be honest, the most it gets to be being limited is a parent rule rather than a grandparent rule.
Yeah, but I don't understand the grandparent rule
I would always be careful about pushing nationality onto people. That's the thing.
That's going back to the lineage part. Yeah, I think if like declaring for a country is a very emotional thing. Obviously, like you're not going to be. It's not a mechanical decision you can make. You either feel Irish or you feel. Yeah, exactly.
Most you feel do.
It's like you either feel Irish or you feel English or you feel Spanish or you feel whatever. Like, and then you declare for that nation. Fair enough. That shouldn't be limited. I don't think. I think whatever. But if you declare for Ireland when you're 14, finished. That's it. No matter if you grow up and you hit 18 and you go, I feel kind of Spanish now.
I can see the validity because it'd still be a professional setup. You'd imagine down that level to a certain extent. So you're in. It's a little bit idealistic because I don't think it would make football better. I don't see how Germany focusing on youth and Ireland focusing on youth means that we both become better. There are loads more German kids. They're still going to be a better team. So, like, while you might get this, we'd get the dream of 11 home soil Irish players playing for Ireland, regardless of lineage, whether they
be one or two quality players.
Yeah, but like whether they had like Nigerian parents or Polish parents or whatever, but they were all Irish, came through our system, were Irish players. That would be great. We'd still lose. We'd still play negative football. It wouldn't. It would help with the bigger nations. Yeah. I feel if they all focused on the youth, they weren't bothered about pulling players from this.
You see, they do that anyway with the bigger nations. Like when you think about it.
Yeah, so that's in vogue now, isn't it? Really. Yeah. So it's idealised. I think we can all agree it's idealised. It would be nice. I would love to have 11 Irish players belting out Aaron Levine. That'd be deadly. Yeah. That'd be so cool. But not likely to happen, and I just don't see it happening. What's the next one?
Yeah, we move on to this is a question from Twitter, and I'm really sorry if I pronounce your surname badly, David, but it's from David Fowser. Sorry. And his handle is Journeyman Histo, and he asks, it was like a big back and forth on Twitter that was happening about like the influx of money in English football from the TV deal and how it's going to affect it, and then I came to this question anyway, and it was what I'm getting at is that the Premier League seems like a very top heavy league in some ways, but perhaps not others. Does this hurt English football? Or what do you reckon?
We'll keep up the trend. I'll shoot it to you first, Conor. What do you think?
Top heavy as in financially.
Top four is completely above everybody else.
I think it doesn't. I think it hinders any league that has a financial disparity like that, which is probably why we're drawn to MLS, and there is a bit of financial disparity in that. But the whole idea behind it is that the clubs who are weaker get better.
Ideally, anyway. In theory, they do,
and that's why American sports. That's one of the plus sides of American sports. Yeah, football clubs are massive businesses, and I still think that obviously you want as many competitive teams as possible. But money doesn't always guarantee you success.
No.
And we've seen that with some of the Premier League teams.
It gives you the ability to correct. Yeah. That's what money does really well. So when you F up, you don't stay out of the top four for decades. You will be back next season.
I mean, like, you've got...
Preferably with the players of the team that ousted you
in the first place. Manchester United and Arsenal have a lot of money, but they've always been traditionally massive teams anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think if you take money away from them, it will make... If you took money away from them, I'd still think Manchester United and Arsenal will be thereabouts in the top six.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, it's helped City and Chelsea a lot. And that's probably one plus side of it, is that you've got two clubs who necessarily weren't title challengers.
I agree with that. At the time, City were refreshing. What about the aspect of hurting English football? Like, as a whole, we're going grassroots right up here. Because the money doesn't come out as it might.
It hurts it because the Premier League like the Premier League clubs, from 1 to 20 in the league, teams don't, apart from Southampton and Swansea, teams don't have any need to bring through their own players. They can just go out because of this massive TV deal, and go out and buy players from
give them more wages.
Yeah,
give them what the money they want.
It's been seen that in other leagues where they don't necessarily have the monumental finances of the Premier League that they can foster youth academies and bring through players as in Germany and stuff.
And then flog them for huge cash, which helps.
Exactly. And I think it was Stefan Benkoski wrote a great piece for, I think it was DW last week, pointing out that Premier League money is essentially helping grow Bundesliga academies.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Palmer, what's your take on this? I suppose to go in the same style that Conor has, go first with Premier League, top heavy, and then as English football as a whole, I suppose, is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think like I think the Premier League isn't as top heavy as it used to be, like after the TV deal came in, because you see like West Ham with the ability to sign likes of Solomon Rondon, which is just nuts.
Yeah.
Like I think oh, what did I say?
You said West Ham signed.
West Ham, sorry.
Yeah. West Ham signed Payet.
You made the David Cameron mistake near. It's Villa.
West Brom, that's what I meant anyway. But yeah, West Brom signed Rondon, and I think that shows how much money there is in the league at the moment. I think the disparity between the sort of bottom mid tables and the top four is closing, but like the top four are getting better. Do you know what I mean? So like there's always that gap there, but I think the teams in and around the bottom are getting better because they can just go out and splurge a huge amount of cash on quality players.
But are the top four getting better?
The important
maybe City are.
I do think that there's something to be said for the Premier League getting more even, but ironically at the expense of quality.
Yeah,
like the top 4 are getting
100%.
better in terms of the personnel they have.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Quality
in terms
of,
of
like lower teams are stockpiling great players. Like Rondon is probably the biggest example of it this year, but they're not getting better to watch. And that's why now, ironically, like the NFL, any given Sunday, anyone can beat anyone. That's true, totally true. Look at the weekend, Arsenal beat United. That's mental. I completely dismembered them, but it's not quality to watch as such. The league right across isn't getting better. It's just the players in it are better, but the system. And Chris Brunt played as a left fullback at the weekend.
Yeah, just one final point I have on the whole how it affects grassroots level of English football. I think money is the problem. I think it's an inherent 70, 80 year problem with English football being inward and shallow, and it doesn't expand beyond where it is. When was the last innovation English football made?
Well, Fergie invented the 4-4-1-1.
Yeah.
We can just end this video. No, but never really.
Germany, Spain, the Netherlands, Brazil have all made some sort of adaptation or invention of the game. England haven't.
No, they just buy it and the players can copy what was done in the World Cup.
Exactly.
Just on grassroots football, the one thing I want to say is like the Premier League and the Football League are different. Like they are a completely separate entity, right?
Yeah.
So all this money that's coming into the Premier League is going to 20 clubs.
Yeah, it's not filtering.
Yeah.
There's 70. There's like there's parachute payments, but like it's like parachute payments are just payments for clubs who don't know how to handle finances. It's like letting a kleptomaniac loose in a jewelry store, and then you're surprised that he's robbed shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then doing it again, and then surprised that he's robbed it again. It's like if you're going to develop 20 clubs at the top level, and if they're going to put all their cash into buying players, foreign players for mega money, instead of doing the clever thing and investing it in their youth academies and producing their own players and making some of that money back when they sell them on to bigger clubs, what's the point of having all that money? Like it's not sustainable. It's just it's a bubble that is inevitably going to burst, and English football is going to be fucked because they're going to have no English youth products at all coming through because they just went out and bought expensive, decent foreigners.
And you see as well, the FA are going to are going to or have fired. I think it's either 55 or 100 employees, and that's to build pitches. Which you would think, like, if the money now, in fairness, in Ireland we have the GAA who do actually build facilities for, it's amateur, but still they build the facilities for everybody. Almost every club now is an Astro pitch. Almost every club has its own clubhouse. So that would happen, but you can't say the same stuff in England.
No.
They're constantly closing pitches, etc. So yes, I do think it will hurt English football. I do think it's top heavy. I think we've all kind of said that. So thanks for your questions. If you'd like to submit a question yourself, use the hashtag AskF3 that's the number 3. Leave your comments in the section below. We'll get back to them as well if you want us to do another Q&A segment. Follow us on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at @the_final_third. And thanks for watching.